to walk and see what they got going on today. All the farmers are showing up, and it's exciting to see what we're going to be cooking. We made it to the Urban Harvest Farmers Market. We got fresh produce, we got great food to taste, we have live music.
So welcome back to Currant Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Soren Peterson, and today we have gone out of the commercial kitchen into a beautiful old home in Montrose. And we're gonna play with some beautiful snapper and some nice peaches that we picked up from the market. And so let's head in the kitchen, let's get started. So welcome into Currant Kitchen. I'm your host, Soren Peterson, and today we're gonna play with some beautiful snapper. I picked up this snapper early this morning. We're gonna make some nice tomatoes with it, with some fresh peas and daikon. So obviously, beautiful whole snapper. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make fillets out of this. We're gonna make a cut right behind the gill right here. And then we basically cut right under, and then we follow along the top fin to get into the fillet. And depending on if you were to serve it with the skin on, you would obviously take the scales off, but in this case we're actually going to take the skin off, so we're going to go ahead and leave it on like this. And you just follow the bones along the spine right here, and you just cut it free, follow it along. There we go, and then we loosen the top, and then we cut again, let it break off a little bit, and then we just follow with the bones like this, all the way down to the bottom fin, and then we lay it beautiful right here. Nice, beautiful snapper. And with this, we're going to put it back on the board because we're going to take that skin off. So the easiest way to take the skin off is actually hold the bottom of the tail right here, and we're just going to go under down till we get to the skin side. You're almost cutting down without cutting through the skin. So you can see here's the skin side, and you just follow with a knife all the way down till you get to the end. So you have all of the fillet laying right here. And then there's a little strip of bones right here that you want to kind of just go ahead and cut out. You can pull them out or cut them out. For me, the easiest way is just to cut them out. And we'll go ahead and make nice portions. This is about a 7-pound fish. So you should easily get 3 or 4 portions off of each side in order to get a nice dinner portion, depending if it's dinner or if you're doing lunch. Just the nice little fillets right here. There you go. And we'll put this to the side real quick. And then we'll go ahead and rinse just in case there's any kind of scales on it. Just rinse the fish off. Lay it nicely there. We are going to go ahead and get the stove on. And so what we're going to do, we're going to add a little bit of Texas olive oil. We're going to do a nice sear. We're going to season it with a little bit of pepper and a little bit of sea salt. There we go. And then we're going to sear it in some olive oil. Just put a little bit in. I'm using a non-stick pan, so you really don't have to use too much oil in the pan. It's just to coat it and make sure it doesn't stick too much. We put the top down of the fillet, just to let it go, and you'll hear it start sizzling. So the idea, we're actually going to finish this fish in the oven at about 350 for 6-7 minutes. While it's in the oven, we are going to go ahead and make our sauce. We're going to make a fresh tomato, heirloom tomatoes that we got from the market, a little bit of peas, and some daikons. So it's starting to sear, so we're going to go ahead and move our other skillet in, and we're going to stick this fish in the oven, again, about 350. Just let it sit there and simmer. What we're looking to do is do like right around medium well, because no necessary to cut it all the way. You want to keep that nice juicy fish, so that way. For the tomato confit, we're actually going to add a little bit of shallots, and the confit means basically cooking in fat, and in this case we're going to use some nice olive oil to do it in, whereas if it was a duck or a poultry, you would actually have enough fat to actually cook it in its own fat off the skin. So we're actually going to add more olive oil than we normally do, because we're actually going to kind of simmer it in almost like you would simmer in a sauce. You turn it up to where you can see it's simmering a little bit, and then we're going to turn it down. We're going to turn down the burner just a little bit, so we still have it warm, but medium temperature. We got these beautiful, beautiful heirloom tomatoes out of the market, and all we're going to do is kind of cut them in a random shape. Lots of flavor. Just cut a few. Grab a couple more right here. And we're just going to simply throw them in there. Get them simmering in the sauce as well. And once you get a nice simmer, you turn it down a little bit further again. There you go. They're kind of cooking in there, but we're just going to slowly move them around, and as the tomatoes cooks a little bit, they would actually release a little bit of the juice in it as well. So we're just going to nicely turn them a little bit. The other thing we're going to add is we've got some beautiful snap peas as well. And what they're going to provide a little bit of crunch and freshness in the sauce. So fresh snap peas, taking the peas out of the pod, just scrape them into a bowl, and we're going to add those as well. So as they cook, without cooking them all the way, they're actually going to be almost like exploding as you eat them. Very delicious. The other thing is daikon radish. Has a little bit of spice to it, and we picked that up at the market as well. And we're just going to cut those into some disc as well. So the whole idea in this sauce is to create the softness for the tomatoes, but also have a little bit of crisp texture for the daikon, and even partially from the peas. And you put those in as well. Just let it kind of slowly simmer in here. Kind of letting the tomatoes cook out a little bit. But it's okay if they have a little bit of the texture and the crunch that they started off with. So it's just a lightly saute. We're also going to use a little bit of fresh basil, which again we got down on Herbalist Harvest today. And basically, rather than actually cutting the basil, just rip the leaves into pieces. They're going to dwindle down a little bit as they cook in the olive oil. And we also have some beautiful oregano, which you can either put the stems in whole and pull them out later, or you can just pull off the leaves and put them straight in the sauce, just like that. A little bit of sea salt and a little bit of fresh pepper. And again, just kind of let everything settle down a little bit and just soften up. And it's just a basic ragu to go with your fish. Rather than necessarily having a starch on the plate, we would actually, that would contain everything for itself for the snapper. You could add a little bit of lemon if you like, but really the acidity for tomatoes will actually come through in the sauce quite well. So it's time to check our fish. Had about a few minutes in there, so it's time to check that. And you may actually flip it in here for a second. Give it a couple more minutes while your sauce is finishing up. The heirloom tomatoes we got from a local farm down, and it's actually the old way of growing the tomatoes, so that's why they look different than your traditional commercialized tomatoes, and they have packed full of flavor. They're kind of a little bit soft to the touch, but it just explodes with flavor. It'd be great just with a simple cheese, a little bit of olive oil, and of course in this case, we're just trying to make them into a little bit of compote. So basically, it's gotten to the point where it's reduced a little bit, and we're about ready to serve our fish. There we go. We're gonna grab our fish out of the oven. And we're gonna simply place the fish right here in the center of the plates. And then we're gonna grab some of the beautiful tomato, daikon, fresh peas, season with a little bit of basil, oregano. Just a simple summer dish. You can grab a little ladle, grab a little bit of the extra olive oil if you wish. Goes great. We're doing snapper with it today. You could easily do it with chicken or any of your other favorite proteins. So there you have it. Fresh snapper, little tomato confit with green peas and daikon. Enjoy. Welcome to Currant Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Søren Petersen. For more information on these recipes, www.currantkitchen.com. You can get all the help you need. Thank you for watching. Tyler, how does this all start?
Well, Urban Harvest was founded in 1994, and we started by planting community gardens throughout the city. And in 2004, 10 years later, we started the farmers market that we're at here today. We call it the East Side Farmers Market. So we're almost in our 10th year of existence.
So how many markets do you have throughout the week here in Houston?
We have 3 markets. So every Wednesday from 11 to 1:30, we're at the City Hall Market, which sets up right in front of the reflection pool at City Hall. And then on Saturdays, we're here from 8 to noon, 52 weeks a year, rain or shine. And our newest market is at the same location at 3000 Richmond, and we're here on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's a lot of the same vendors on Sundays that are on Saturdays.
So tell me a little bit about vendors. What is the process? What is the criteria for people to be able to sell at Urban Harvest?
Sure. So becoming a vendor has a 3-part process. First, you have to meet the criteria for the range at which we pull from, and we accept vendors from a 180-mile radius of Houston. So they're usually coming from, most of them actually are coming from about 90 miles of Houston. And then if you're going to make prepared foods, you have to incorporate local ingredients into your product. So if you're making, let's say, carrots dip, you need to make the dip with carrots sourced from the farmer's market.
So that basically reassures people when they go here, it's actually local product that they're buying.
Correct, and then it has a relevance to what our mission is, which is to try and support local farmers and small business producers.
So how long have you been with Urban Harvest?
I've been the market manager for almost 4 years here, and I started out as a volunteer the previous year. So I just started showing up and really liked what the atmosphere was and the community aspect, and roped me in, and now I've been market manager and full-time employee.
Awesome. Awesome. So can you kind of tell me, obviously throughout the years, some of the growth? Because, you know, local would become more and more essential to the community.
Sure.
And so to kind of base it on how much it's growing.
So when we started in 2004, we only had 5 vendors, and it was a backyard gardener, a pimento cheese maker, a small farm, and bread baker. So that's all we had for a long time, but we kept showing up. And I started being involved in 2008, so 4 years into the market, and it was growing. But we've almost doubled in the past 4 years in terms of the size of the market and the number of vendors. We're a little limited on our future growth because we've kind of outgrown our space here. We've got about, this weekend you're going to see about 57 vendors here at the market. Wow. So we can add a couple more, but we're going to run out of room to put people. It's a good problem to have.
That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Exactly. Can you tell me a little bit about also shopping, commercial? I noticed a lot of chefs here. What is kind of the ratio, would you say, as far as product being purchased? It's obviously majority is local people living in the area coming in, but there's quite a few restaurants that also takes the opportunity to come down here.
There's quite a few restaurants that come, and it's a way that the chefs spend their Saturday mornings, and it's kind of a social experience as well. They get to meet up, and they work kind of crazy hours, so a Saturday morning is a great place for them to meet. And I'd say some of the finest restaurants in Houston source a lot of their ingredients straight from the farmers at this market.
It's wonderful. So what are some of the future goals? I know you said you're outgrowing this space. Is there plans for more markets? Is there plans for different days of the week to make it a complete circle of the week?
Exactly, yeah. There's plans for a permanent home for this. We set up in the parking lot behind an office building, and what we'd love to see is a place that people could come 7 days a week, and the farmers could have a presence, and it could be maybe part of it could be indoors as well, because we're entering the really, really hot months here, and
exactly.
It'd be nice to be able to have a place where it was a little bit nicer. It's 100 degrees soon outside.
And you recently added Sundays to your Saturday market here. How's that?
It's doing really well. We've got a great selection of produce. We've got everything from fruits to vegetables, and we've got a fish vendor that fishes out of the Gulf. We've got grass-fed beef, pork, prepared foods. You can go get brunch after you get out of church or whatever you're doing on Sunday. I mean, we're trying to do the same model that's made Saturday so successful, but do it on a Sunday with a little bit later hours for the people that maybe can't make a Saturday market.
What is the website for people to go on and look and see, to find out more, find out times and locations and all that?
You can find out more information on www.urbanharvest.org.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Tyler.
Thanks, Soren.
I appreciate you coming out.
Pleasure having you be involved.
Thank you. So welcome back to Currant Kitchen. We are dessert time, and we got fresh peaches from the market. We're going to do a little bit of caramelization on them, add some sweet creme fraiche. And how we started is we take our peach, cut it around the center, so we get some nice big pieces that we can place in the bottom of the skillet right here. So we're going to add a little bit of sugar to the bottom of this because we're going to start the caramel. And one little thing that I normally do is I get fresh vanilla bean, or we get vanilla bean, and we soak them with the sugar. So actually the vanilla bean, the flavor of the vanilla bean goes into the sugar. So it actually stretches your sugar with the flavor of beautiful vanilla. So it's one thing, you can store it, and you can actually use these over and over again for at least 3 or 4 times where they sit in the sugar and you get beautiful vanilla sugar. So what we're doing, we're lightly coating the bottom of this pan, and we just kind of let it start to melt. And when you start to see it's turning lightly golden, that's what we're gonna place our peaches in there with a little bit of fresh butter. And while we're waiting on that, we're actually gonna make a creme fraiche. And creme fraiche, it's semi-close to what we call sour cream here in the US. And what it simply is heavy cream mixed with lemon or an acid. And what it does, it makes the heavy cream sets up to a nice thick creamy sauce like you see here. And all we're going to simply add to this is a little bit of a vanilla sugar to this as well. And as a little twist, we're going to add a little bit of black pepper. And what that's going to do is just going to have a little bit, a soft, gentle little spice in the end as you eat it with your sweet peaches. As you see, the sugar is starting to turn a little bit light brown in the edges. So you kind of just move the pan around so it can be even. You really don't want to stir at this point. If you stick the spoon in it, it will become a mess. It starts sticking to the spoon and you'll get a lumpy caramel. The other option out of this is if you mix sugar with water and then reduce the water with the sugar, and eventually as the water evaporates, you would actually get the caramel even out into it. But you kind of move the pan around to get it even, and once you get this nice, dark, light, a little bit darker sugar, you actually just place your peaches in here, and they will nicely absorb the caramel. And we're going to add a little bit of butter to this as well. And then we're just going to kind of mix the butter in. And depending on how your peaches are, if they're ripe and fresh, they're going to be already nice and soft. So really cooking time is minimal. You really just are looking to get the flavor of the caramel in the peach and get it a little bit sweeter is really all you're looking for. Versus if they're unripe, they're going to be fairly hard, and you're going to want to have to cook them a little bit longer in order to get the softness out into the peach. And you could add a little bit of liquid if you wish. You could add maybe a little bit of Grand Marnier or another liqueur just to flavor it in. But basically you see how the caramel is bubbling up around the peach and is starting to incorporate in, along with drawing some of the juice out of the peach in the caramel. So in this case, our peaches are really nice and they're really soft to begin with. So all we were looking to do was just to flavor and still have a little bit of texture in the peach as well. So when we add creme fraiche, we have a little bit of that left. There you go. And simply, we're just going to add a little bit of creme fraiche on top. And you could even season it with a little bit of fresh basil, or even mint if that's one of your preferences instead. But basically, place a little bit on top of that. And there you go. Fresh caramelized peach with some sweet creme fraiche and sweet basil.
So we're at the market. We bring my family every Saturday. This is what it's all about. Me growing up, Denmark, sharing, living off the land in a sense, if you will, even if you're inside the city. But teaching the kids with fresh eggs, teaching the kids what grows around you, how you make meals out of that, how you can utilize everything in your surroundings. That's why Ethan is 4 years old and she's already learning. She's learning what a carrot tastes like. She's learning what fresh green beans taste like, natural pork, chicken, all of those things. So when she grows up, she knows the difference.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Okay, so this time of year, we're looking at beautiful fennel, baby fennel. We have some different lettuces, squash blossoms. This will last for another month. Look, a few lettuces. As we get into the hotter summer, you're looking at more like some more simple squash, beautiful tomatoes. Potatoes are coming in, green beans. We missed kind of the pea season. It got too wet, so it was really hard for them to pick. So we unfortunately missed a lot out of that a little bit. Texas is kind of funny. So depending on what the weather's going to be this summer, it kind of depends on how long it extends out for the season. The season already has been kind of strange because it hasn't been as hot this year as previous year. So some of the things that we see go away a month ago last year is actually still in season now. So that's the beauty of it. You get to play with all kinds of things at any given time, and just looking at the market is where you stay in touch. You can obviously go online and read books and find out when stuff is in season, but this is the true season. What they have is what's in season. That's what they grow.
So welcome back to Currant Kitchen. I'm your host, Soren Peterson, and I'm sitting here with Gita from Animal Farms. Thank you for taking your time to sit down with us.
You're very welcome.
How did it all begin in the short version?
Actually by accident. We grew just a little bit for the family, and it just was overwhelming yield, and we didn't know what to do with it. We distributed it to all the neighbors and friends, and there was still a lot. So one of the chefs contacted us, and that's how it started. We started selling to the Rainbow Lodge, and then from then on, all the other chefs who knew him contacted us and wanted as well.
So how long ago would you
it
say
was
that
20 years ago.
Wow.
Long.
And you are right outside of Cat Springs.
We are, yeah, it's part of Cat Springs.
And how did you pick that location?
We were just looking for a nice spot with trees so we can go and ride our horses and relax, and we've never relaxed since.
So how long have you been coming on when did Urban Harvest start for you?
I actually started the market.
Oh wow.
And I was a member, and I was a chairperson. I was chairing the market gardening class, and we tried actually where your restaurant is now. It was our first trial market.
Oh wow.
And it was just a handful of farmers. We came there and we put vegetables on tables, and everybody who came to the restaurant looked at us and thought, what the hell are these people doing in it? And they would all comment, oh, what beautiful vegetables. But no one bought anything.
Wow.
And they proceeded into the restaurant.
Wow.
And so after a while, I thought there was a need to have a market in Houston. So I started organizing with help of other members of Urban Harvest, and we started the market.
And now it's
thriving.
Lots of vendors.
Yeah,
lots of
we
people coming
started
out.
with about 7 vendors.
Yeah. Look at it now. Look at it now.
That's right. Yeah, they're wonderful. Everybody comments on how they enjoy seeing where the stuff is growing and tasting your wonderful cooking.
What is your website for people to go check out?
It's animalfarmcenter.com.
Wonderful, Gita. Thank you. I appreciate it. So welcome back to Currant Kitchen. We are finishing up a great day. We've been to the market. We picked up some beautiful produce, some fish. We managed to create a nice snapper dish with some heirloom tomatoes and some fresh peaches with some creme fraiche. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching. See you next time.